Hi, I'm Bill Crawford, and we're in basic training, my gym in Scottsdale, Arizona. And we're going to go over some basics about weightlifting. You probably heard this before. Some of you may know it, some of you may not. So I'm just going to pretend that nobody knows anything, and we're going to start from scratch. First of all, the machine I'm on right now is a leg extension. This machine is for the femoris erectus muscle. So we sit in the machine like this. We put our legs behind the roller pads, and as we exhale, we lift the weight up, pause for a moment, let it back down as you inhale. Exhale and inhale. Now there's a couple of things that are going to be true across the board with every single exercise. Number one is the speed at which you do the exercise should be nice, slow, and deliberate so that there is no inertia or momentum in the mechanical apparatus. We've all been to gyms where we see people lifting lots of weight, and they're throwing the weight up, letting it down, throwing it up, letting it down, throwing it up, letting it down. So what happens is they're lifting the weight to about right here. Then the weight lifts itself. So that doesn't do the muscles any good, but then when it comes back down, you have to catch it. That's impact force. Impact force is what causes injuries. If you can eliminate impact force from weight resistance exercise, you'll never have an injury. You can take a walnut shell, lay it on the ground, put a hammer on it, come back in 10 years, the hammer will still be laying on the walnut shell. But if you raise that hammer up a foot and drop it, bam, there goes the walnut shell. That's the power of impact force. When you subject your joints to impact force under the force of weight resistance loads in exercise, the impact forces are so great that they can't even be measured, and that's what causes injuries. Human tissue can only be injured from radiation, burns, whether heat or chemical, or impact force. Well, every gym I've been into, we know you're not going to get a chemical burn, you know you're not going to get a radiation burn, and if you do the exercise properly, you will not have an impact force related injury. So I cannot overstress the importance of keeping impact force out of weight resistance exercise. The other is the breathing. As you lift the weight, exhale, blow it out. Inhale when you breathe it in, exhale when you lift. A couple of reasons for this. Number one, when you squeeze muscles in a muscular contraction, the muscles squeeze the vasculature within that muscle group. That makes your blood pressure go up, way up. When you breathe in, you are inflating a diaphragm in your chest. When you hold your breath, that makes your blood pressure go up also. So if you do all of these things together, breathe in, hold your breath, and lift, like that, you are spiking your blood pressure up to an astronomical level, and if you have a weak vessel somewhere, hopefully not in your brain, you could actually have an aneurysm. People have stroked out and died in gyms lifting weight. Especially as you get older, this becomes a cause of concern. So if you exhale when you lift, you are lowering the pressure here, compensating for the increase of pressure created by muscular contraction. That makes it a lot safer. The other thing that happens, in order for exercise to be really efficient and to get the most out of it, we need a lot of oxygen coming into the lungs, plating onto the hemoglobin of the red blood cells, pushing into the muscle tissue. That's actually where the CO exchange takes place. So the carbons jump on to the blood cells, then you vent them out. So if we have a breath in, a breath out, with every repetition, we know that we're getting complete oxygenation of the blood, and it makes the whole thing work so much better. So those are the basics. One other subject I'd like to talk about, and that is, how do we know we're lifting the right weight? How do we know when to stop? Well, in most cases, we want to experience what we call muscle failure, the fatiguing of the muscle cells, somewhere between 8 and 12 repetitions. Now, if you have a lot of body fat to burn, you can do multiple sets. In a full body workout, I usually recommend 2. Some people do 3. If you present with 8 or 9% body fat, and all you want to do is gain muscle, then one set to failure is sufficient. But what is failure? Failure is when you're going along and it starts to burn, and then all of a sudden it gets very, very uncomfortable, and then you reach a point where, bam, that's it, you can go no further. Now you can stop and rest and do it again, but you really don't need to, because that muscle failure is the magic moment in weight resistance exercise. Simply what happens, you've got two different kinds of muscle fibers that bond together inside each muscle strand, inside the sarcomeres, and when these cells bond together, they shrink down, creating a muscular contraction. When you hit muscle failure, the chemicals don't hold on anymore, the muscle cells break their bond, and that basically causes non-injurious damage to the cell walls of the muscle fibers. Then, in the day of rest, hypertrophy takes place, in comes blood, oxygen, micronutrients, amino acids, enzymes, and they build these muscle cells back bigger, better, and stronger than they were before, and that's what makes the whole thing happen. Good news is, exercise is probably bad for us. If you did it every single day, you'd tear your muscles down. But it's a healthy body's ability to adapt to the stress that makes us get stronger with weight resistance exercise. So we stress and we rest, and we stress and we rest. And those are basically the basics of the ABCs of what we need to do when we're working out with all the different machines. And what we're going to do in this series, we're going to show how to effectively and safely work every muscle group, from large muscle groups to small. So hang in. After you watch this video, there will be more. So hey, thanks for coming into basic training. Really appreciate it. Have a great day, and I'll see you next time.